The Buffalo Bills are one win away from going to the Super Bowl.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Baltimore Ravens 27-25 and are headed to the AFC Championship game. Folks, that was an absolute dogfight. We know Baltimore is a tough matchup for Buffalo, and they sure were in this game. But at the end of the day, the Ravens were the team that made crippling mistakes and came up short. I said it all week. Games are lost more than they are won. The four teams that won in the divisional round and advanced to the conference championship games turned it over 0 times. The teams that lost combined for 10 turnovers. The Buffalo Bills defense, the big play defense that it has been all year, comes away with 3 monumental takeaways. The offense took care of the ball, and now the Buffalo Bills are 1 win away from going to the Super Bowl. All right. Hopefully you've caught your breath. I'll tell you what, that was a game that was emotionally draining. That was a week that was emotionally draining. The anxiety, the game finally gets there. You watch 3 other playoff games. You're waiting all day for Sunday night, as the saying goes. And then you feel like this Bills team is in such a good place coming out of the half up 21-10. You feel it slipping away there in the second half. Baltimore has a chance to tie it up. They score. They need a 2-point conversion. Mark Andrews drops the ball. Rasul Douglas recovers an onside kick. 1 first down. Josh Allen kneels it out. And we get ready for an AFC Championship game. But first, let's react to this game. I want to have a traditional post-game reaction podcast. We'll do things I liked. We'll do things I didn't like. Recap my predictions and talk a little bit about this AFC Championship game. In terms of things I liked, I think we got to start with the defense. And I really just like how they adapted. The first drive of this game was everything you kind of feared it would be. Now, you were happy that the Bills kind of sold out. They stopped the run early, but they were super careful with the pass rush. You're playing zone coverage. All the eyes are on Lamar Jackson. He hit some throws. Those zones were getting soft. They score a touchdown. And then they kind of settled in a little bit. Bills started to be a little bit more aggressive with their front. They applied some 5-man pressures, played a little man coverage, introduced a little chaos to the Baltimore Ravens offense, and learned that you couldn't really play that game on your heels. And adapted pretty well up until maybe the end there. I thought the Bills overall did a pretty decent job defending the run. That was the big narrative all week long. Can the Bills stop the run or defend it or give themselves a chance? Were the Ravens just going to give the ball to Derrick Henry 35 times and run it down the Bills' throat? Well, the Bills did a decent job of defending the run, and I think that's probably as good as you can hope for. Nobody was stopping this rushing offense. The Bills did a decent job. Lamar Jackson 6 carries for 39 yards. Derrick Henry, 16 for 84. You can live with that. They go 176 rushing yards. Baltimore's been over 220 on the ground in each of their last 4 games. Justice Hill was the hardest guy the Bills had to defend back there. And so you gave up a little production, but it wasn't a snatch your soul type game that a lot of people feared it could be. And look, you knew that this Baltimore offense was going to have some production. They were going to move the ball. They were going to make some plays. It's a tough matchup for Buffalo on defense. But they were able to move the ball, but the Bills defense did the thing that they did all season long, and they made a bunch of game-changing plays in high-leverage moments. The first one was the Taylor Rapp interception. It's a horrible throw by Lamar Jackson. That's all that was. Horrible throw. Hung it out there. Taylor Rapp, easy catch. Then Damar Hamlin with a sack. Lamar fumbles. Von Miller with a big return. And Baltimore was moving it, right? They were kind of getting close to the red zone. Game-changing play by Damar Hamlin. Huge recovery by Von Miller. Set up a short field and a touchdown for the Bills. And then Terrel Bernard. I mean, Mark Andrews catches that ball wide open in the middle of the field. And Terrel Bernard made a very aggressive choice to punch that ball out, man. He just threw a right hook. Ball comes out. He wasn't going to tackle him. He said, I'm either going to punch this ball out or you're going to get a even bigger chunk of yards. Made a big play, game-changing play. Then you wind up stopping, and I'll use air quotes, stopping 2 two-point conversions. You did stop the first one. Second one, I mean, you're out leveraged. They throw the ball right to Mark Andrews. The dude's got to make the play. He didn't make it. I don't feel sorry for him. I mean, the Bills have been on the other side of that play so many times, right, where you're the team that makes a crippling mistake. Make the play. You couldn't make the play. But the Bills did find some negative plays on defense. Damar Hamlin with a couple tackles for loss, including that sack. Greg Rousseau, tackle for loss and a sack. Dorian Williams with a tackle for loss, and both of those tackles for loss came up in that second quarter red zone goal line drive. And Oliver with a tackle for loss. He felt like he was pretty active in this game. But I want to go back to that. When the Bills bowed up on defense in the red zone there in the second quarter, before the Bills scored right ahead of the half, I mean, Baltimore got it down there, 1st and goal from the 2. Whatever receiver it was, I think Bateman gets behind Damar Hamlin, who's the middle of the field defender. It probably should have been an interception, but they get behind him. The one thing you can't do there is a deep middle defender. 1st and goal from the 2. Baltimore settles for a 26-yard field goal from the 8. And on that series, you had the Rousseau sack, and then you had the, I guess, Dorian Williams / Matt Milano tackle for loss. That goal line stand and the 2 takeaways that this defense had in the first half put the Bills in a really good spot going into halftime. And I'll say this, look, you've heard throughout the course of the week and even after the game, Bills coaches and players talking about some of the narratives out there about, look, are they too small? Do they have enough talent on defense, et cetera, et cetera? And I like that they internalized that and made it motivating. I think a lot of that is fair for people to discuss and bring up. But great job just using that as motivation and fuel to go out there and have the type of game that they did, which was good enough to win, which included some big-time tackles for loss, some big-time takeaways, a huge goal line stand. So, again, I don't think a lot of that stuff wasn't true. I thought a lot of those were very fair questions. But as I've said a million times, like the best teams can find ways to put a chip on their shoulder, find things to be motivating factors. And I think the Bills defense found the right stuff and certainly were a big reason why the Bills won this game. And I think the Bills needed every one of those things. The 3 takeaways, the negative plays, The Mark Andrews drop, they needed every bit of it to get out of there with a win, and they got out of there with a win. All right, coming up next, we'll talk about things I liked on offense and special teams. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Growing your small business in 2025 comes down to how well you can hire. And let's face it, better hires start with smarter insights. That's where LinkedIn comes in. With the strongest hiring data available, LinkedIn helps you identify the right candidates, giving you the confidence to make the best decisions for your business. I've used LinkedIn Jobs myself, and I can tell you it's a game changer when it comes to hiring the right fit. Small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, and every single hire that you make is crucial. LinkedIn gets that, and that's why they connect you with the best candidates available using data that you won't find anywhere else. From unique skills and interests to the connections you share, LinkedIn helps you find the right person for the job. In fact, 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helped them find a high-quality candidate. I know from experience how important it is to make the right hiring decisions, and having access to insights like what skills candidates have or how they're connected to your network helps you feel confident when you pull the trigger. Hire smarter this year and find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. It's playoff time, and if you're like me, you want to make the most of these final weeks of football action. That's where PrizePicks comes in. If you love football and want a chance to win real money while watching the games, PrizePicks is the place for you. It's the best way to turn your sports opinions into cash with daily fantasy player projections. With PrizePicks, you simply pick more or less on player stats like passing yards or rushing touchdowns, and for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds, and whether you're looking for a flex play to boost your payout or want to cash out quickly, PrizePicks has got you covered. And with over 10 million members and billions in winnings, it's clear that people are loving this platform. I've been playing for a while now, and it's super fun. I'm having a blast. It's easy to use, and I love how fast the payouts are. Seriously, I've gotten paid out in as little as 15 minutes when my picks hit, plus the weekly promos like Taco Tuesday discounts add even more value to my lineups. Here's a special offer for Locked On NFL listeners. Download the app today. Use code Locked On NFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use our code Locked On NFL. That'll get you $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, welcome back, folks. If you're joining me on YouTube, you can see the Happy Victory Monday to You t-shirt. Get yours. Get yourself one of these. HerdMentalityShop.com is the link. We've got this shirt. We have the We Have JA17 shirt that is now also available in a hoodie. All kinds of other designs. There's a Hay is in the Barn design as well. Pretty cool looking shirt. Check it out. HerdMentalityShop.com. There's also a link in today's show notes. All right, let's talk offense. It's a game between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and it really came down to the Bills' defense making big plays and the offense really just not screwing it up, if you will. That's kind of what happened here. The things that I did like about the offense, and I'll say it was kind of a blessing and a curse, was the rushing offense. It was pretty strong. 36 rushes, 147 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. 147 rushing yards. That's the most on Baltimore all season long. That's a tough front to run on. They got some big dudes in there. Travis Jones, Michael Pierce, Kyle Van Noy, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey in the slot. They got a really good front that's tough to run on. The Bills found some decent success. Of course, James Cook, the workhorse, 17 rushes for 67 yards. Had some tough physical runs in there. Really happy with how James was carrying the football. Ty Johnson, 5 for 31, had a nice explosive run. Ray Davis, 4 for 29 and a touchdown. He had an explosive run there. Bills had him out-gapped. It was a nice play. And then, of course, Josh Allen, 10 rushes, 20 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Both those rushing touchdowns were awesome. I mean, one was obviously a tush-push where the Bills were, or the snowplow or whatever it's called. The Bills were right up against the clock, the play clock ending, and you could see Josh was like asking for a new play clock. McDermott's running down the sideline, and he just snaps the ball and just gets it. And then the other rushing touchdown was awesome. I mean, plowing through dudes, flexing at the end, carrying Travis Jones, who's like 330 pounds, into the end zone. I mean, it was awesome. It's anytime you're seeing Josh Allen flex after a touchdown run, that's good stuff. But you really had some good scheme wins here for the Bills rushing offense. They were able to outgap Baltimore a few times and had some really good plays. Josh Allen in this game goes 16 of 22, 127 yards. I mean, it's not a banner day throwing the football. We'll talk more about that later on. But I think you do celebrate a couple of really nice plays to Khalil Shakir to convert some third downs on that first touchdown drive. I mean, that was a really nice throw over the middle of the field to convert a third and long. Had a nice little inbreaker, kind of a slant route to extend a drive that also resulted in a touchdown. So Khalil Shakir, of course, a big part of the Bills' offense when things that are good happen, right? I mean, he's important. But ultimately, the Bills, I mean, I think the best thing the Bills did is they pounded the rock and took care of the football. Some levels of efficiency, you go 3 of 4, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That's good. 6 of 12 on possession downs. You'll take that. 50%. It's solid. So I think the offense played their part. I think you're thinking Bills, divisional round, Josh Allen being spectacular. It just wasn't the script today. And this was a tough matchup. So, whatever it takes, you take it. But you're not going to write any stories about the amazing offensive production by the Buffalo Bills in this game. And while maybe there were some more dazzling moments for Baltimore, they're the team that made the crippling mistakes on offense. And so it's good to be on this side of it in this particular game. Things I liked on special teams. I mean, how about Tyler Bass? 2 of 2, of course, one was a chip shot, but he made from 51. That was a pretty big deal that the Bills were able to get that 51-yard field goal. Yeah, you're certainly wanting a touchdown. You're wanting to open back up a 2-score lead. But the dude drilled it from 51 outdoors. It's cold. Certainly not a field that looked like it had great footing. And he put it right through the pipes. That's a great kick. And, of course, drilled all 3 extra points. He scored 9 points for the Bills in this game. Huge. And then how about Rasul Douglas recovering that onside kick? That's another tough spot. I mean, it's cold. It's a slick field. Sure, the ball is not feeling like it normally does under those conditions. It's Justin Tucker, who, I mean, he's been in the league a million years. I mean, you talk about somebody who's probably got it figured out how to do an onside kick. He got it done. And, I try to imagine being Rasul Douglas in that moment. The world's got to stop, right? In slow motion. You're that dude. You recover this ball. You're going to the AFC Championship game. If you don't, I mean, you're going to be an absolute, not somebody that anybody likes in Buffalo ever again. The extremes are just huge. And he makes the play. Talk about some things I didn't like on defense. Well, first of all, I think you got to point. We're talking about things I don't like on defense. I want to point the finger right back to the offense, because the offense coming out in the second half and punting on those first 2 drives absolutely ruined the script. I mean, it's 21-10. You come out of halftime with the ball and you go 3 and out. I mean, that's a dream start for Baltimore. Then you go 4 and out on the next drive, 7 plays for 19 yards and 2 punts. This isn't the things I didn't like about the offense segment, but I think that's notable when you talk about this defense that had the tough matchup. I mean, I guess both sides of the ball is a tough matchup, but the defense was the unit of great concern for the Bills in this game. And for you to have that opportunity to blow the door wide open, or, at least do something with the ball there, you come away with 2 punts. And that allowed Baltimore to get right back into running the ball, get right back into the game. Now, of course, the defense deserves some criticism for that. I mean, just because the offense didn't do what it's supposed to do in terms of playing complementary football at a high level doesn't mean you have to give up those yards. But they had a couple of drives. I mean, really, you would say most of the drives in the second half, the defense looked like soft butter. And you're talking about especially that last drive of the game for all the marbles. They get the ball back down 8 plays, 88 yards in a minute and 56 seconds. And really, the last 4 plays, I mean, they just made the field disappear. It went from 2nd and 7 from the Baltimore 26 to a touchdown 4 plays later. 27-yard chunk to Tylan Wallace. That's a great play. I mean, Lamar Jackson extends to his right. You feel like Bernard and Milano have a nice opportunity to make a play there, kind of on the perimeter. And Tylan Wallace does a great job of realizing that he needs to get back the other way, runs across the field, and I mean, that was a big-time throw and catch. Then they get a 19-yard chunk to Mark Andrews, 24-yard chunk to Isaiah Likely for a touchdown to give him a chance to tie the game. So for as good as it was in the first half where you had the big red zone stop or really a goal line stop, you took the ball away a couple of times. In the second half, I mean, outside of Terrel Bernard making that spectacular play to force a fumble, I mean, they pretty much looked like the Baltimore Ravens offense you feared that they could beat throughout the entire game. I totally believe in complementary football, and I put some of that back on the offense, but boy, you needed a little bit more there on defense in the second half. Fortunately, the Bills get out of that thing with a win. All right, on the other side of it, I want to talk things I didn't like: offense, injuries, predictions, and a quick sneak peek at the Bills' AFC Championship game foe. Folks, be sure to stick with me. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is super easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. And look, you can get in on this action right now. The Bills open up as a 1.5-point road underdog in Kansas City. So if you like the Bills with points, you can get in on that over at FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's talk things I didn't like on offense. And I just think there was a lot to take away from this. I mean, after you go to the Taylor Rapp play, right? You get this big takeaway, interception. You go 4 plays and a punt. And that was just a really sloppy sequence there where they call a ridiculous holding penalty on Deion Dawkins. It's not a holding. Not on any planet is it a holding penalty. Winds up being like the only penalty on the Bills in the game. They had one. That was it. That was the one penalty that they had that was accepted. And it's silly because it took away from the drive. I mean, it brings up a 2nd and 21. Josh Allen hits Curtis Samuel. It should have been 3rd and 3. All of a sudden, it's 2nd and 21. Then they get a couple free runners at Josh on 3rd and 4th down. The drive goes away, and you're excited. You have this opportunity, a takeaway, try to get points off of it, make it pay, and you didn't. Part of that's on the refs for sure. And then on the 3rd and 4th down, your protection schemes failed. Third quarter was a disaster for the offense. Like I talked about, you started the third quarter 21-10 with the ball. You talk about opportunity to win the middle 8, and you did on the front side of it. The front side of it, you were terrific. You score a touchdown. You go into half thinking, oh my gosh, it could be 28-10 before Baltimore touches the ball again. Nope. You punt twice. You couldn't move the ball in the third quarter. And the Ravens, I mean, Coach Harbaugh comes out in his halftime interview and says, look, we got to stop the run. We're going to score some points and win the game, and we got to stop the run. And they were dialed into that. That's what they did. They sold out to stop the run. And what did the Bills do? Kept running it. Like at some point there in that sequence, you would certainly feel like there was some opportunities to throw the ball down the field. Didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. I would have loved the touchdown there at the end to ice the game. Right? I mean, who wouldn't? Josh can't stay up on that 2nd and goal run. Kind of trips up as he's trying to get in. You have 3rd and goal from the 2. Josh is bottled up. I'm not really sure what they were trying to get done there. I mean, didn't have a prayer. And that's a hard decision for Coach McDermott, right? It's 4th and goal from the 2. You take the points there. You go up 8. And you make them score and get a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Or you go for it, and you either ice the game with a touchdown, or you don't, and you're up 5, and they start with the ball at the 2. And, I mean, we all watched the same game. Baltimore was moving the ball at ease in that second half. It felt like for sure Baltimore was going to score a touchdown no matter how far they had to go, and then they certainly did. They go 88 yards for a touchdown. in like 7 plays. I guess it winds up being the right decision because you said, hey, in order to tie the game, you got to get a 2-point conversion. They didn't get a 2-point conversion. Now, they probably should have. So, I mean, the Bills won the game, and I think it's a hard decision. I think you could look at what the analytics said. It gives you a boost of like 2% win percentage if you go for it there. It's a tough decision. It's a very tough decision, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have convictions. I'm not sure that I do. I'm glad that it resulted in a Bills win. So that's what I'll say about that. I wish I had convictions on it because I recognize the challenges there. You just had 2 chances. You weren't moving it there. It was what you needed to have a better play on 3rd and goal from the 2. You had to get it closer. You didn't get it any closer. In fact, you might have lost yards. You go up 8, and they can't beat you on the drive. They can't beat you. And, I mean, look, if they would have tied it, the Bills would have had 1:33, and I think with a couple of timeouts left. I mean, who knows? So, a lot of dynamics. The Bills win the game, so I'm not going to harp on it. But as we finish up this conversation on things I didn't like about the offense, I mean, it just wasn't a banner day for the offense. They did enough. They mostly did enough to not lose the game. 273 yards, 4.6 yards per play. That's not exciting. 5.5 yards per pass. I mean, there was just really no downfield elements to this passing game. And kind of surprising because I thought there was some good matchups for the Bills the Bills receivers against those corners. The Bills really didn't do much of that at all. I mean, it was all kind of middle of the field and then to Shakir and then a couple passes to tight ends, a couple passes to running backs. I mean, you really didn't have much going with your outside threats. Injuries, Taylor Rapp is the notable one here. Hip injury, was carted off, didn't finish the game. No idea what the severity is there. Obviously, that's concerning. Taron Johnson injured his shoulder there at the end, came back and finished the game. Hopefully he's good to go. That's all we really know for now. You know how this goes. You feel one way about it, and then there's a mystery injury or whatever. So we'll learn more from Coach McDermott during his press conference on Monday. Predictions-wise, I did okay. I go 3 for 5. My first prediction was Cooper and Coleman combined for 100 receiving yards. Boy, they didn't come close. 5 receiving yards, 2 targets, 1 each. 1 for Coleman, 1 for Cooper. Come away with 5 yards. That little glance route to Coleman was the only completion. I guess Josh targeted Coleman on a vertical shot that winds up being pass interference on Tre'Davious White. I wouldn't call that a good call. I would like to see Coleman go get the ball. That's what I'd like to see in that play. I mean, hit him in the hand. And we got to fight through that contact. You're the big-bodied physical receiver going up against, an aging Tre'Davious White. I mean, go make the play. So I missed that one. I predicted 100 rushing yards for the Bills offense. That happened. The Bills get 147 rushing yards. And the Ravens have only given up north of 100 rushing yards 5 times this year. My third prediction was that the Bills would have 350 yards of offense. That didn't happen. They only got 273. I predicted that the over would hit. The over-under was set at 51.5. 52 was the total here, so it hits, but obviously that's as close as it gets. And I predicted the Bills would win, and that certainly happened. So 3 for 5. What's next? Kansas City Chiefs. Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, CBS. Allen versus Mahomes. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Not only do we want the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, we really don't want the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. The Bills are the team that right now can end Kansas City's attempt to three-peat and also make it to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row, which would put them right on the doorstep of making 4 straight, and we don't want anybody to do that, right? Well, you have the opportunity to go do it in Kansas City. And look, the Chiefs had a survive and advance game against Houston. Houston Texans were the team that just made more mistakes, and there was nothing spectacular about Kansas City's performance. And Mahomes made one really cool play as he's falling down. It's a great touchdown pass. But other than that, I mean, it's just C.J. Stroud eating the ball, taking terrible sacks. we'll see. Kind of similar situations here when you look at like the Bills and Ravens and their wild card games, very similar, where they're both running the ball a ton, both controlling the clock. They win handily, they face each other. Now you have the Bills in Kansas City, both teams like nothing super spectacular about their performances, but the other team makes more mistakes and they advance. Now here they are. Winner goes to the Super Bowl to play the winner of the Commanders and the Eagles. So I guess it's written in law that if the Bills go to the Super Bowl, they can only play teams in the NFC East. So we'll see what happens. This will be the fourth time in the last 5 years that the Bills and Chiefs meet in the postseason. Second time in the AFC Championship game. The Bills won this game earlier. They've consistently beaten Kansas City in the regular season. It's time to do it in the postseason. And we'll certainly spend a lot of time this week getting ready for it. So you know the drill. We'll do all 22 review, herd mentality, crossover Thursday, full primer, final thoughts, and then the game will be there Sunday night. Tons of coverage, of course, here on Locked On Bills. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you check out the Substack. We've got articles coming this week. You get my big picture thoughts coming out of this game. We'll do a scouting column on Josh Allen. Of course, my scouting matchup preview against the Chiefs. That's all coming your way in the Substack. Check it out. There's a link in today's show notes to join. And I'm looking forward to spending all day tomorrow in the tape. And later that day, we'll get you the All 22 Review podcast. If you're part of our Substack or our subtext, of course, that means you get the All 22 Review film clips where I break down the game and analyze plays and send it out to people. I'm looking forward to seeing the passing offense in particular and see, what opportunities were there, what wasn't there, and kind of get a feel for where that's at going into this game against Kansas City. So lots of coverage. Check it all out and enjoy your Victory Monday, folks. The Bills are on to the AFC Championship game for the 7th time in franchise history. Looking forward to it. And my goodness, go win this one. And we are going to have a lot of fun with a lot of nerves. Getting ready for what's after that. But I wouldn't want anything else. That's the stuff we dream about, right? This is part of being a fan. This is it. Like, this is what you dream of. This is what you want. And the Bills are right there in it. And we'll talk you through it every step of the way, folks. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.